Yeah, hi. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your very late night, almost early morning, AEW Dynamite review. This was the Thanksgiving special, apparently, or whatever the fuck, or pre-Thanksgiving special, and it wasn't really that special. I will say this, I was surprised with one segment tonight. And I will get credit where credit is due. So we will talk about that, and we will talk about basically other shit. So grab your Coca-Cola, and drink a Magnesia there, because I'm a Coca-holic. Oh shit, cheese motherfuckers. Coca-Cola is a game, drinking is, whatever. Coca-Cola's a name, drinking is the game. Cheers, motherfuckers. I hope all y'all have a good Thanksgiving, alright? It's good stuff. You drink it magnificently. It's probably make some bitches go, oh shit, I'm thankful for all the beautiful women in the world, except the freaking non-women. Okay? Legit, if you're a legit woman and you're not a fucking feminist, you're the real one, alright? Thankful for them. Thankful for, I guess, good people in the world, too. Alright, so... And I'm thankful for y'all, I guess. I could say that. So the show started with CM Punk. And, wait, what the fuck? Okay, so the show started with CM Punk. He came out, I assumed, to face freaking QT Marshall. Come on. Oh, shit, this stupid fucking, Okay, yeah, I'm reading off something. I want to read, oh, fuck off. This stupid thing. So, yeah, CM Punk comes out. Then freaking, so it was supposed to be him versus QT Marshall first, but then MJF comes out, I believe. So that's what happened. Come on, freaking this stupid thing. This is okay. I'm gonna try to make the best of this. So MJF comes out. MJF then goes on the mic and the fans boo, calls him an asshole, then shut the fuck up. And then he says not being I am tired. He goes on to talk about how it's not being nice to be interrupted, referring to Punk coming out during his promo segment last week. He goes on to say shut the fuck up to the fans, and then begins running down memory lane with Punk, who he calls Punky Brewster. That stupid show that was on the 90s and then freaking get rebooted to like a shitty, and it's like being promoted on Facebook. Even though it's cancelled. He talks about how the pipe bomb was only useful thing he done in his career, how, it was the best thing in his career, blah, blah, blah. He calls Punk a one-trick pony, then talks about Punk being a straight-edge man who looks like a meth addict than a sober person. So basically tonight, both CM Punk and MJF, they kind of basically say the things that in the YWC people said about them. Stuff like I said, stuff like Wrestling Jesus said, stuff like the Smart Busters have said. Whatever. So, now he talks about how if he had Punk's face, he would have had down 8 shots of whiskey just to look in the mirror at it. He talks about Punk naming wrestlers during interviews, except for MJF, that he was interested he was interested in facing. He says he can pretend, but in reality, he'll never mention MJF because he doesn't want none. MJF says Punk has always been good on the microphone, but says that because he was on the small fish in a big pond. He says he understands Punk never wanted to go at it with him at the mic because he knows that MJF would end him quicker than his UFC record ended. So that was actually pretty cool to say. He talks about dropping nuclear bombs instead of pipe bombs. Punk finally got on a mic and says MJF. He finally learned MJF's name was Maxwell last week, but always thought it was stood for my jealous friend. He said he never mentioned his name in interviews because he doesn't want to feed his ego. He says in MJF's head it's probably just due to the fact that he's got a poster of Punk on his wall. He said that he did something last week that no one in AEW was able to do. He shoved the great MJF without saying a word. He says he had 7 days to think of good zingers, and he came up with the lowest hanging fruit. Punk tells the fans that MJF thought he's somebody. He says in reality he's just a less famous version of the Miz. So basically, what again, like stuff like I've said and other people have said here in the YWC, fans were chanting the Miz. So yes, he was basically the Miz. MJF tells the fans to calm down when they chant Miz at him, and then says Punk that he's nothing more than nostalgia. He says he was a fan of Punk, but is not afraid to admit it. He says in the ring on the mic, no one could touch him. He says he was the best, or so he thought. He said that ever since he returned, he struggled to beat the easiest of competition, has struggled to say anything of intrigue. Friedman then gets close to Punk and tells him to the breath that he smells like shit. He says that probably because he's been kissing a lot of ass lately. He does impression on him being a robotic sounding person, and then says that his hair is turning gray and his eyes looks horrible, like he needs sleep. He asks what happened to the guy he grew up watching. He might as well have came out and preached hustle, loyalty, respect instead, basically referring to John Cena. The fans were all, oh and wah, and then he calls Punk Mr. PG and says that you can see through him. He does the "you can't see me" gesture, and then tells Punk he only came back for the money. He also talks about Punk mentioning he couldn't change the business on his couch. He asked if Punk was too busy making comic books and movies that no one saw or read. He asked if the real reason was because he was scared and couldn't hang anymore. He questions if Punk could ever hang in the first place. MJF then goes on to says he should be scared. He says that another company he was viewed as a cold hero because he was held down when he should be number one. He says that now he's here at AEW where he could have chances to prove everybody right. He questions if he really can, or then asks the fans if he can. The fans cheer, and then Punk deep down knows that during his career he's been the second best, and says that whether it's John Cena, Triple H, or basically saying that the people you can't see, or the King of Kings, he will never be quite up to sniff. He goes to assure that he's standing in the ring and his company, things will be the same. He says he claims to be the best in the world, but then gets in the face and says, but I'm better than you and you know it. The two stare for a bit, and the Punk lifts his mic and tells MJF that there's some truth to what he said. He's not going to lie, not even to MJF. He says he never lied to the people. He said that he didn't know if people were going to remember him or still care. He says that he wasn't sure if he still had it. He says he's not scared of anyone longer, and then he's not scared any longer, and certainly not scared of MJF. He says the timing might not match up, but he was selling out Madison Square Garden when MJ was marking out for Rosie O'Donnell, so that was pretty funny. Punk says last time MJF sang and danced in here, he was featured in New York Times. He says he's going to make New York Times again, but this time in the obituary. He says he enrolled himself in college that his parents couldn't afford tuition to. He says he got a big mouth, but he always backed it up. He says MJF can never back up his without help from Warlow, Sean, basically his stupid Pinnacle group. He says he wants the heart and soul. He went to the heart and soul of the AEW, not him, but Darby Allin. He said that he'd chew MJF up, but he reminds him that he beat Darby Allin and he didn't need a diamond ring to do it. He goes on to talk about MJF, thinks of himself and says that he doesn't realize he's been replaced by Britt Baker. He says, but while MJF thinks that he may be excellent points, He talks too much and says that they wasted time with fans' time. He says that he will always he calls Chicago the second city, not because of second best or whatever, but it's because they whenever whatever happens, they basically um, built up after whatever, like being burnt or whatever. So that's what he said. And he said that the only way that MJ will be relevant if Tony Khan has a daughter, basically referring to Triple H. So it was pretty kind of funny. And then he now brings the last time that he was in Chicago. He was here to give fans ice cream bars. But now he says that he's gonna punch the needle dick right. He's on MJF, and they basically just like they're about to fight, and then they basically MJF left. So I will say this: I'm not the biggest MJF fan. I think again, like fucking Punk said, he's basically just Miz with a scarf. But I will give this. MJF did do a good job. And you know what? I see why people think he's a good promo cutter. It's just the thing is he's like more of a, he tried to sound like anti-smarky sometimes, right? Because he says like he'll call fans, incels, which is alright. And he'll call fans virgins, just basic smarky things, right? But like sometimes, but it's also knowing what he did in the indies. He did some gay shit, so I didn't like that. But you know what? I don't hate MJF as I used to. I think he has definitely this was definitely the cool thing that Punk has done in a long time. This was a good promo off. They both had a good promo off against each other, and the fact that this opened the show, you know what? That's pretty cool. So, yeah. So I did watch this on YouTube. It was a pretty good segment. I will say that. Very impressed with the segment. I thought, it's definitely something to look forward to about AEW. So congrats AEW, you did one cool thing. So then CM Punk defeats QT Marshall. So yeah. Christian Cage says Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus are the number one contenders for the AEW tag titles, and the next time they challenge for the titles, he will make sure they win. So that's alright. Then the Gun Club defeats Beer Country. Who the fuck are Beer Country? Then Darby Allin's thing comes out. Darby takes out Austin Gunn while the rest get out and dodge. Freaking Billy Gunn is in better shape than fucking guys like Chris Jericho and all these AEW guys. He should probably be world champion than a lot of these guys. This is the sad part. Dante Martin leaves Leo Rush and signs with Team Taz for some reason, but whatever. Donna Rosa defeats Jamie Hayter to advance the next round of TBS title tournament. Jamie gets upset at Britt Baker and Rebel for costing her the match and walks away from them. Oh wow, the friendship being them. Then Tony Schiavone informs Britt Baker that she will face Riho on Rampage, and if Riho wins, she'll get a women's title match. Britt tells Tony that she's no longer invited to her and Adam Cole's Christmas party. Well, okay then. Bryan Danielson defeats Colt Cabana in Chicago. Colt spits out the tooth and Bryan takes it and shows it, basically showing like, oh, I'm going to kick people's teeth in. So, yeah, so it's whatever. Then Bryan Danielson says he did exactly what he said he was going to do. Kicks his teeth in. And then Hangman Page comes out and offers to give Bryan a match tonight for the title. But then Bryan says Hangman wanting to fight him is already after he already had a match is now cowboy shit. It's not cowboy shit. It's coward shit. Hangman offers to give Bryan the first hit, and Bryan slaps Hangman and starts slugging it out. Then Hangman goes for a buckshot, and then Bryan leaves the ring. So basically, Bryan is a heel, I guess. So yeah. I guess good on Bryan. I didn't get to watch this, but I guess that's something. And the main event, Malachi Black, Andrade El Idolo, and FTR defeats the Death Triangle and Cody Rhodes. I really don't give a fuck. So I think that's all that happened in AEW, and that's definitely the big thing was the opening segment. So I will give that to AEW. That was a pretty good promo off. Again, I'm not a big MJF fan. It's not because he's a heel. It's because like I just think he's gay. But you know what? Maybe he's growing on me. You know, he's becoming those guys that I don't hate necessarily. It just he's a mixed bag, right? So I would say MJF is a perfect mixed bag. So you know, so I'll give MJF that. He's all right. I just don't. I don't. Yeah, but whatever. So these the show. I'm not gonna say it's like good or whatever. I'm not gonna rate it as like. Cause again, but judging by the matches, I wouldn't really give a fuck, and especially some of the highlights. But definitely the highlight was the opening segment, so I will give it that. Good job AEW with that. So, I think that's pretty much it. And I guess CM Punk's finally doing stuff that's interesting, that's like good. This is what she should have been doing for a long time, but maybe it helps the story or whatever. But yeah. Anyways, that's what I'm gonna say, people. That's AEW Dynamite from tonight, or basically now last night, because it's like 5 in the morning. Thank God it's still like dark outside. Anyways, I hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving. Take care, everybody. God bless. Yeah, and cook your turkeys right, because what will help you cook your turkeys right? Drink it cold magnificently. And cook your turkeys right, because that's the real problem in the world. People don't know how to cook turkeys right. And that's why fucking you guys complain about all turkeys no good and whatever. Alright? That's the real world fucking problem. It's not world hunger. It's not war. It's fucking motherfuckers don't know how to make fucking goddamn turkey. That's what I want to see, people. Happy Thanksgiving. Till next time, peace. Yeah, bye.